Okay guys, you may have saw my last video, which was the exact same car and track combination, but I have an updated guide because, as you can see with my lap time, 2:11.757, I am this is the first time I've been happy with a lap, extremely happy with my results. This is done in a practice session, so same conditions as what you'll be driving in when you drive the practice, and the practice and qualifying state are pretty similar. I'd say qualifying has a teeny bit more grip, but as you can see, a 2:11.75 is basically it's about 4k I rating. There's another person that does a lot faster. Let's see what it is. Yeah, I know exactly who he is. He's Polish. Yep. Okay. Yep. This guy. Przemysław Lemanek. I'm Polish as well, half Polish. But 9k I rating, 2:11.360, and that's on better conditions in the later stages of a race, because the race has a lot better conditions, so this is very comparable. So I'm extremely happy, because I've only just started racing, so to do this lap, I'm extremely happy. But anyway, enough licking my own arse, let's get into it. So, this lap, I honestly didn't do the pestless source, so I'm going to go back a lap, and we're going to analyse this list source, because I don't want to give you a list source that's not great. Okay, so we see the 100, we brake in between the 100 and this orange post here, and we brake in a straight line. You really hit a late apex here because you have such a big run out of this corner up to El Rouge and Radion, in that order, not the opposite way around. So you really want to prioritise a late apex. I'm going to show you a chopper view of this, the chopper view, because with my camera and FOV, you cannot see the apex of the corner. So it's more of just I've got the feel of it now. It doesn't really distract me too much anymore. It did at first though, so don't get me wrong. It's annoying, especially if you're on single screen. It's the most annoying thing. So just as soon as you get one lap down, just keep trying to repeat that. You can even maybe once you get one lap, you can choose a reference point when certain part of the track hits your car. But we go down into first, and we brake in a straight line as much as possible, and then we start trailing off. As soon as we start turning in, trail off. You'll see the technique. Do you see how much I was trailing off there? And you see, I want to show you exactly this. So with this corner, the source, we don't want to use this green because the curb will bounces and the car will sort of jump. And when it jumps, you lose exit speed. So we want to sort of brush the curb. Let's see if I did that this lap. Okay, I used a bit of the Astro, but the ideal is we can use a teeny bit of it, but we don't want to smash into it too much and too hard, because that means that we will lose exit speed. So that is the source, and I will put us back into cockpit, and you'll see the full corner, because I don't want to distract anyone. Okay, so and do you see how much I open up my steering? That's exactly what we want. Okay, this source wasn't the best, but we'll watch anyway. Yeah, as you can see, I had to make a counter correction because I was heading into the barrier. And did you hear the car bottom out because I smashed into the curb too much? I got a worse exit speed. I saw it because it was on my Delta. Okay, we skip forward because no one wants to see me, like driving a straight line. Okay, so now we have El Rouge. This is El Rouge right here. Radion is at the top. So I start turning in as soon as just before this little orange Marshall hut here and the lights. And we just want to cut as much as possible. The track limits here are this little dirt patch there. We don't really want to touch it. Boom. And we get as straight as possible. And this bit, you can see that my steering is pretty much at 0%, 0 degrees. And as soon as we pass this curb, we start turning in. And the reference here, again, is this to straighten up, is this rubbered in curb thing. It's a really good reference point. See how we got a perfect cut? Okay, came all straight, all flat out. Actually, I want to show you something on this corner. On this corner, I always love to do this. Relax your hands as much as you can with this corner because you really just want to have as little steering as possible. It's not really a corner, it's more of a bend, but we want to have as little steering as possible because you're going onto the straight, and it may only save you a thousandth of a second, but that thousandth of a second is a thousandth of a second ahead of someone, so it's every little bit of time is very useful. Okay, for lay com off the Camel Straight. Braking marker. There's not really a specific braking marker for here, but what I do is after I pass this start of the curb, I wait a few meters and then I start braking, and we brake to about 80% here. Boom, 80%. And when we turn in, we want to cut as much as possible, and we're in third gear for this corner. Third gear. See how much I cut? We can cut a lot. But you can get a track limit here, but it's quite hard. And if you do get a track limit, as you will usually be bounced because you've hit this curb too hard, like your wheels are over. So the track limits here are just this, mainly the gravel. Okay, so for the second part of Laycom, you can see this curb. It's very tempting to ride the inside of this curb, but we don't really want to brake into it too much because it bounces the car, and it's quite interesting, really. I really like this about iRacing. The suspension feels spot on because the car will rebound up, so it'll sort of bounce and it'll lift up the front wheels and the rear wheel, which will give us a better which will give us a worse exit. So we try not to smash into this. We try not to ride the left-hand curb too much. Like put our wheels on the inside and use it to drag us round. I think it could work, but you'd have to be careful. And I just find it to be inconsistent. Sometimes it bounces you out quite wide. Sometimes it really helps you. So maybe if you want to take the gamble, go for it. You can experiment. I've not really experimented too much with it, but what I tend to do is just have my left wheels on the curb as much as possible, but not over it, but not on the very inside, so we don't ride it. You see how I did ride it a little bit? Yeah, I did. So, and then you can see the bounce afterwards. Boom. That lost me exit speed. So, yeah. Try not to ride into it too much. For Malmedy, you see how it's just a little lift. This, you do a smaller lift for every lap that you do because you have less fuel in the car and the track conditions become better. So initially you'll probably do like a 50% lift, but here we do it only at like a very slight 80% lift. So lap after lap you should be, this corner is very dynamic, you should be lifting less each lap. And I choose to really smash into this right hand side AstroTurf because that cuts the corner as much as possible. So then we can take this more aggressively with the throttle, so we can get, you do lose a little bit of exit speed if you smash into it too hard, but the benefits of taking a faster corner massively outweigh it, so I do take this green Astro. Track limits for Malmedy, it's usually the gravel, but it's really lenient. As long as your wheels are still on this curb, you should be fine. For Bruxelles, or Rivage as some people call it, I don't know why I've got Bruxelles from, but I've heard someone say it before. I think it was from the Traction GG lap guide a long time ago for ACC. I think John, his name is, called it Bruxelles. But anyway, we brake as soon as we hit the curb and we shift down into second. Is it second gear? I'll count. Yeah, we're definitely in second here. The reason why we're in second is because we don't want to unsettle the car too much, and we see how long my trail braking is, but really pay attention to that. I'm trail braking right around the corner, and that's basically because this car is very understeery when you're neither on the brakes or the throttle. So we want to always be, you have to be really active with your feet. And we get on the throttle as soon as we start to see the exit of the corner. For No Name or Jackie Ink's corner, because that's what it's been renamed to, we have this curb on the right. If you if you set this up really well, I sort of ran wide here. We shouldn't run out this wide because then it's hard to get your car over to the right again. So there are some areas of improvements to this lap, but we can get on this curb early and then ride it all the way down until we hit this little flag post here, and then we do a light brake into third. So as you can see, the braking marker is this flag post here, and I did get onto this curb. We should use this curb. I've experimented, it's definitely faster. Here I could use less steering angle, to be honest. I was getting a bit excited because, as you can see, I did a 211.849 the lap before, so I was just really excited to hit that lap, even just a 211. So the best way to take this corner is use less steering angle, and I'm literally going to do it on my steering wheel as I say this. We use less steering angle, but we trail brake more aggressively, and that gives us a higher turn-in. The less you turn with the steering wheel, the more the effect of trail braking you will feel. It's been revolutionary to my lap. I was stuck on a 212.2, and today I incorporated this more, and 211.849. So we can see it definitely works. Oh no, 211.757. Sorry. So it definitely works. Track limits for Jackie Ink's corner. You can touch this gravel, but we don't want to get too far over. So as long as you brush the gravel, you should be fine. But I would recommend anyway to just stay off the gravel because it does slow you down a teeny bit on exit. Okay, so now for one of my most favourite corners in motorsport history, P1. P1, we get on the right hand side curb and we brake almost when we're almost into the corner. I will show you. I don't really have a braking marker for it. For high-speed corners, I don't really choose to have braking markers, and the reason why that is because you have so much more feeling in high-speed corners. So and this corner is really dynamic, depending on what fuel you have and what the track condition is like. So we should really feel the car and see what it needs of us. But as you can see, it's a light trail brake, and we go down into fourth gear, and we can take this inside bit here. It definitely boosts your lap time a lot if you take this inside bit. Boom. See how I ride it just a little bit? You don't try and smash into it too much because it's quite easy to get an off track, but you can definitely use it. Run all the way out wide here because we just want to maximize. We want to minimize the amount of steering angle we have throughout the corner because we have less resistance, so we go faster. Okay, for Piff Puff, or Fagnier, I think some people call it, we want to brake at the start of this curb. I broke a bit early here, but it's not a hard brake. You'll see here, it's not very hard, and we basically just want to roll as much speed as we can throughout the corner, and we can get on this right hand side curb as well. The reason we can is because it sucks us in, but we have to be very careful of track limits here, because track limits are very easy to get when you use this right hand side curb. But I will show you the amount of track that I used on this lap is the amount of track that you can use. A little amount. As long as your wheels are not touching any part of the grass, it seems as though you don't get a track limit, but I'd be careful. It's quite easy to get one. And with the exit of this right hander, we want to place our car in the centre of the track, even more to the right. We don't have to go all the way to the right, because then we sacrifice too much of the previous right hander. So we want to aim for like a middle of the track exit. And when we're in the middle of the track, you'll see how I get on the power fully, but only momentarily before I have to lift again for this left hander. And it's a full lift. And again, it's the same as the right hander. We can take this inside curb, but we can't have our wheels on the grass. But definitely take that inside curb. Track limits here is usually it's very lenient. You will never really run into track limits unless you go like properly off the track. Okay, so for Stavolo 1, we brake when we reach the start of this curb. I still broke a bit prematurely here, but I am more of an early braker. The reason is because I feel like I can balance the car a lot better if I brake a bit earlier and a bit softer for medium to high speed corners. that works very well, and it's always served me well. I don't believe in braking as late as possible for high speed and medium speed corners. I believe braking a teeny bit early. That seems to make our balance better. And we go into third for this corner. And, okay, so this is a little bit of a mistake. We don't really want to use this right hand side curb at all. None of it. Because if we do, the car bounces and we lose exit speed. See how it bounces so much? Let me replay that with me shutting up. Boom. You see how much it bounces and we lose exit speed because of that. So for start load 2, this is all flat. So we just want to cut as much as possible, but also have the steering as open as possible, which means the least amount of angle that we can get away with. And for the track limits here, you won't ever really run into it because the car can easily do this, but it's the gravel. So we don't even want to use all the track limit here, because if the car scrapes against the curb, it bounces and then we lose exit speed again. So it's very important. It's just these little things in Spa that can really make a difference. For Bungee flat out, just use as much track on the right as possible, and then use as much track on the left, and then use as much track on the right again. Do not hit this curb though. Braking point. We can brake very late for this corner. I brake as soon as this 100 board gets off my screen. As soon as that happens, I brake. And we go down into first. We just want to roll as much speed into the first right-hander as possible. We can get on the throttle midway in between the corners, the chicane as well, bus stop chicane. And then we want to use this left curb as much as possible. But you can see how I keep the steering lock on the right, because we want to get as far over as possible on the right as we can with the speed that we're carrying to set up the left well. I think I did a teeny little bit of brake. Yeah, I did do a little bit of brake. It's basically just to balance the car again, because the weight is all on the rears when we're on the throttle, so I just do a little dab of brakes. That's a lap of Spa, 2:11.757, very happy, as I mentioned. And I hope this guide was useful, so now I'm going to replay it with me not talking. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope this helped someone. As usual, if it did, leave a comment. Thank you very much. Goodbye.